Hello, and welcome to Extreme Gaming Podcast, episode 327. I'm Grey Gamer, sometimes known as Grey Gamer 25, and this is my partner over here, Trev. Howdy, Trev. Oh,
I
I
said
like
I
that
wouldn't.
shirt, man. That's like bright.
It's a right. So it's Trev as always. Hello here. This is you guys know I like my football, and I
Yep.
like my football teams. I'm often wearing stuff like this. And for any Scottish viewers that we've got or listeners, right? The
Mhm.
West Coast bus service, McGill's, right? Not to be confused with Breaking Bad, the lawyer McGill, right? But McGill's the bus service, right? Local bus service. This looks like their seats. And
Really?
if you're listening to audio pod, right? If you listen to their audio pod, if you listen to our audio pod, go to YouTube and watch the visual pod, and you'll see, and you'll go, "Oh yeah, Trev, it does look like McGill's bus seat." I hated this at the start. Now I love it. So I always wait till it's cheap because
It
I'm a
actually
tight
looks
arse.
more Floridian, like where I am. It's kind of like a tropical,
Really
got a tropical vibe to it.
tropical vibe, man. Yeah. I like
I
my
mean, you can
football gear.
easily mistake some of those patterns for like maybe a tree or palm trees or I don't know,
Yeah, or a bus seat.
or a bus seat. Well, I'm wearing my
Anywho,
NASA shirt. If anybody wants to see, they can see it on the video. And
NASA.
I got NASA pictures behind me, the Artemis, the moon.
North
Uh,
American Spooning Association. Yeah, is that right?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure. NASA. No, but it
Uh,
was it was fun just to put a side note in. We talked about the monitors that they used last podcast,
we
but
did.
it was I really enjoyed watching Artemis. At least the part where they took off, circled the Earth, then I kind of only tuned in here and there. And then when they got to the moon, of course, I was all ears that whole day. The
Hmm.
only thing that Trev and I were talking about off the air, we were saying like how lousy the 4K picture was supposedly looked when they were approaching the moon, and it's driving me crazy. And I'm sitting there going, "Why does it look like this?" So as I'm listening to all day on that Monday, they came up and said why. They go like, "Well, we're borrowing bandwidth for all the other things that the astronauts are doing," and they were doing a whole bunch of stuff, experiments and this and that. And I
Yeah.
was going like, "Seriously? So you're borrowing bandwidth, and so that's why the picture shot looks so bad." Because it should have looked really good, but it
Yeah.
didn't.
Well, it was either you, Gray, or someone else that told me that the Artemis stuff takes so long. And listen, I know we're in a massive side tangent, but there is tech involved here somewhere. And we're gaming, we're
Of
tech and
course
that
it
as
is.
well. And they designed this stuff such a long time ago because there's
Mm,
all parts from the old space program, the shuttle program in there as well. The engines are in there for the program. So you look at something like that was designed years and years and years ago before SpaceX was even a thing. And you're going like it was like 10, 15 years ago they designed this stuff. And they don't have the technology implemented into it because they need to go back and redesign it,
mm,
and things are already behind. So the next time they do it, Gray and I were saying like they need to get some. They should have done it this time. That was a no-brainer. I think they missed a trick, Gray. Like they weren't landing on the moon. Send a couple of small satellite cube Starlink things
CubeSats, yeah,
out there, CubeSats
yeah.
or whatever for now to get them in place. Don't waste your trip. And then next time we'll get full bandwidth. And they need to share the bandwidth with the whole ship. The whole thing, like the vital stuff about how their health, how they're feeling and all that stuff, the mechanical stats and all that stuff needs to be that's the priority. So it was filmed in 4K, but we only saw that
Yeah,
shit when they plugged it into a computer and downloaded it all.
exactly.
So
We gotta wait until the data came down, then we
floppy
could actually
disk,
see what it looked
floppy
like.
disk, 10,000 floppy disks.
What if you people are listening, if you go and look at the pictures, the actual 4K pictures that came in after, they're pretty
Stunning,
stunning.
stunning.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I think what it is NASA's is the kind of organization that they're so heavy into the science and what needs to be done, which is cool. That's the way you should do it. I think they just automatically don't think about doing the fancy stuff
what
until
Yeah, and they're different from
later.
SpaceX in that respect because
Yeah,
SpaceX are like privately funded, so they just want to go, and keep pushing it. NASA can't afford to do that, so
I think the
they're,
other
they're
thing
both
too
they're
is
both great, just for different
oh
reasons.
yeah. I think the thing is too, people forget is that when SpaceX is got the orbiting Earth thing and shuttling equipment back and forth down to a science, no pun intended. But they don't go to the moon and they don't go to planets, and it's a different animal when you're going out that far to the moon. It's
Not
a
yet.
different kind of craft that has to be done. So they can be experts, but you can't just sit there and go, "Hey, SpaceX, can you fly to the moon tomorrow?" No, they're not going to be able to do that. So, but
Is there
we
money in
could.
it for
NASA could.
us?
But we'll see how it goes. But it's pretty exciting just to know that we're going to get a moon base. That's like somebody. What was it? So tell me, was it you that said we should call it Moon Base Alpha?
You literally took the words out of my mouth, man. It very well could be. Yes, from Space
Space
1999,
1999.
the cheesy British sci-fi show that had a couple of Americans on it. The concept
Yeah.
of it is ridiculous but hilarious, where there's an explosion on the moon, a nuclear explosion, and it's so powerful it blasts the moon away from the Earth's gravity. So the moon starts going through the galaxy by itself. And everyone's saying that's ridiculous because if it's an explosion powerful enough to move it out of the orbit, there would be a massive chunk of moon missing if there's anything left
Yeah.
at all. So it's ridiculous, but their main base is called Moonbase Alpha, and that's what Elon wanted to name it when they go to the moon and then Mars. They wanted to call it Moonbase Alpha. So
Yeah.
NASA should just steal it and go, right, it's Moonbase Alpha. And then they need to build the little ship things like you see, like the little models that you see flying.
Sure. Just yeah, make the things look just like it, like those ships.
And then they need to. Have you ever seen the program, Grey? Space
Oh, of course.
1999.
Oh, yeah, I used to
Yeah.
watch it, man. It was
So
like,
so they'll need to pick up that chick that the alien that can change form into almost anything that she sets her mind to. Any animal, I think it is pretty much. So, and then we're
yeah.
sorted.
Before you know it, you'll have Flash Gordon on there, and you'll have all the
That is God.
all these people will be popping up. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what they might do? Knowing NASA though, they put things out for school kids to name. Like,
They
did you
do.
see the mascot they had? The little stuffed toy or whatever that
Yeah,
was.
I've forgotten what it was called though.
Yeah, that was I. Oh, that's right. I forgot too. But it was a third grader that won the contest for this. This he hand drew it and he got picked and they made the doll out of it.
It's the
So
gravity. It's a plushie. It's a gravity
yeah, yeah,
tester. If
yeah,
that starts floating, they know they're good. Because you imagine you take off your seatbelts too early.
yeah. Oh yeah,
So,
sure.
you know, splat.
Like we're pasted to the floor. We can't move. Right?
I tell you this much, great. In both of our lifetimes, and I'll include you in this one as well,
Mm,
you'll be able to get shot into space if, like, like the Blue Origin thing that Bezos
yeah,
done with like
yeah.
Shatner and stuff, that'll come down in price, so you'll be able to go for a little quick jaunt for weightlessness, then come back for a reasonable price. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I think I'll trade it just to watch the moon base be built. That's
Yeah, because you
cool.
don't go anywhere, man. That's why.
Look, yeah, I could just see that the first place I'll go in my life is going to be in space.
Well, if
Like,
something
yeah,
happens, then you've got a James Doonan type funeral and memorial. You're already there.
oh yeah, yeah, there you go. Instead of spreading my ashes, I'll just fly into the sun and create a bunch of ashes. Yay!
Anyway, massive side tangent. Apologies, people.
Yeah, yeah, but that's okay. They love our tangents. Join our Discord, discord.gg/extreme gaming podcast, where you can talk to us about all the stuff we just talked about and on every other podcast that we do.
Mm,
We also do a monthly, this is weekly, obviously. We do a monthly called Extreme Hollywood. We're giving that another shot. Episode 3 will be recorded this week, so it'll be out relatively soon. Yes, tune in, listen, and all that stuff. If you want to see us visually, we do put the video version of this on YouTube for people that might want to look at our ugly mugs. And if you do, go ahead, take a look.
it's available
Otherwise,
early, remember?
yep.
Very
Otherwise, like
important.
we know our audio people are in the multiple thousands, not millions, but multiple thousands, and listen very faithfully every week. And we really appreciate it because we can see the download spikes. Whenever we release on Thursday, it goes whoop, and everybody's like
Mm,
downloading like crazy, and then drops right off after that. But that's cool. We got our regular people.
yep.
So we'll start all of us. I left that on the notes, or did you want to talk about
Yeah.
that? All right, we'll take that
What
out.
what Gray
There you go.
forgot to mention was on Wednesdays, roughly, give or take a day or so,
Mm-hmm.
the for members of the YouTube channel, they get the video pod early. In fact, you end up getting it a day early than even the audio pod as an incentive. But the audio stuff's always there and always will be there because it's the bread and butter and stuff that
Yep.
we enjoy
And
the
this has
most. Because
been I can't believe that we've been doing this like 6 years. It doesn't seem like that long.
mm,
I mean,
no, it doesn't.
Oh, it's been a long time. And we've been weekly for a solid 4 years, I think. Because I think the first 2 years it wasn't weekly, it was, like, more like monthly or
It was monthly at the very start, and it was very serious and all that, and don't get me wrong, like, nothing wrong with that, and then it changed to weekly because that's when we were Extreme PC UK, and we done the different tactic of the streaming was the live. We done the Twitch stream live every
yeah.
week, and that was done. That was like an hour or so, and then there was still the monthly main pod, and then the kind of two merged together. So it was a bit silly and a bit daft, but at the same time, it was once every week for
Mm.
90 minutes to 2 hours, and I like that format, man. It's just
I
yeah,
think,
it's fun.
yeah, I think we've morphed over the time and turned out to be the great show that we are now.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, we'll slide into some hardware tech news, and Chev's gonna lead us off on that as
I
he takes
am,
his
I
jacket
am.
off.
Perfect timing.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. We have a football shirt, football meaning in UK, guys, and then you take it off, and what do you have? Another football shirt right below it.
No, that's a shirt. This is a jacket, technically.
Oh, okay,
A
whatever.
very
I
light,
mean,
small jacket thing, yeah.
it's almost taking, like, 2 T-shirts and just pull off a
And
T-shirt.
then from the next layer, no.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
that's how you get demonetized for sure. Yeah, I've a couple of things. Hans can't join us. Personal stuff going on, which is a shame because I wanted his opinion on this as well. But we just go with what we've got. Um, we mentioned last week or the week before that AMD are bringing out. It's not a well-known secret at all. They're bringing out the 9950 X3D 2. And we weren't sure of the price though. We saw like placeholder prices, um, and we took it with a pinch of salt. We weren't sure if that was the real price or not. It
Mm,
turns out it's not far off it at all. The the price, well, I'll do it in dollars at least anyway. The price of the X3D2 when it does come out on April 22nd will be $899.
so $900. Jeez.
Wow. That is
I'm glad I got my chip when I did. I'm gonna have no problems not paying $900.
that
Pretty crazy.
is so that's ridiculous, man. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to find if there was a placeholder in the UK for it, like to see what it would be in pounds, but usually they're kind of close together. To be fair,
Mm,
I think it's about 20% higher than the previous chip. And do you want to know something? I can't be too upset because they can do this. Think of Sony with the PS5 Pro. So the
mhm,
PS5s, they take a loss on at least for the first so many years, so they can try sell more software. So they subsidize it, which is, I guess, a good thing.
mm.
Um, and then AMD have came along and went, right, okay, we're bringing out this chip because we can, because we're like the top of the tree. We're just going to ramp up the price quite a lot by about 20%. And I'm actually looking at the pound price, and it's £830. So £830 or $900, or probably €900, no doubt. Um, you might know something great. Like I would I get that one over the one prior, the one you've got, if I was looking for that kind of chip, and at
Mhm.
20% more in price, I probably wouldn't because you
Right.
look at the gaming chips, the 9850 and 9800. The 9800, the best gaming chip there is, has or one of the best gaming chips, has went down to something like $409, I think someone was saying the other day, about
Yeah.
£350, which makes it a fantastic value
Sure.
considering the 9850 is only like 5% better, roughly. And the price is a lot similar between those two. So you would get one of those chips, or you would get the chip that Gray's got, which is the 9950 X3D, no two.
No
So
2.
I'm assuming you're not upgrading, Gray. You're happy.
Nah, nah. I wouldn't have anyway, but this is more of a reason because not just the price, but also because when you look at the statistics, it's really not that much better than what I got. It's not enough to sit there and go like, "Yeah, I'm buying it at twice the price."
It's
Woo.
it's 5 to 10% better apparently.
Yeah. That's like I said,
for the price.
thank goodness for people out there that have brains and they write interesting software. Between Project Lasso and my core parking software, I'm supposed to be right at that level. So and all driven by software. So I'm good.
Well, see if I give you a idea in price comparison. So I'm still on, it's the UK website
Hmm.
scan.co.uk. They do a lot of, they're kind of like Micro Center equivalent, I guess. They are selling the 9950 X3D, not the two, just the normal one, the one Gray's got, for £590. So there you go. You pay an extra, what is that, 240 for 5 to 10%. Nah, that's madness. If you need a chip like Gray's got, that kind of chip, it's good for both. You want to go for the 9950 X3D.
I'm looking back at
Um,
my order details, and I'll tell you right now, I bought mine way back in May, which is almost a year ago. And
Jesus, is that long ago?
what did I pay at that time? That's what I'm trying to see here. I paid.
Hmm.
That's
Or
not
just
right. Is
roughly.
it? Oh, because they're putting figures 700 at
Right,
that time.
okay.
So yeah,
700
100.
as opposed to 900. So that, yeah, like,
Yeah,
that's
$200
ridiculous.
more. Yeah, no, that's okay.
From, yeah, it's not worth it.
I
But
splurged getting this one. There's no way in hell I'm gonna go another $200. I'm like, nah.
I still don't have anyone that can explain to me, including Hans, how this new chip is going to work with both CCDs that have the V cache on it. That's good for kind of like gaming and the memory. I don't really know how that's going to work. Is it going to be better for gaming or not? Is it going to switch between them better? What one's it going to use for what? I don't get it. I'll have to wait for the reviews, I guess, like the day before or the day of to see what they're like, because I'd be curious. But I'm happy with my gaming chip at the moment, my 9850. Um, because, and this wasn't something I had an agenda, but just really briefly, the Zen 6 stuff that they've got going next year, AMD is going to be that's going to be an upgrade. That's going to be an upgrade grade because
Yeah.
they're talking about like 6 gigahertz or more. They're talking about like 16 cores on the game chip rather than 8, and that takes some hell of a redesign. So that's exciting. I'd love to see that next year. I'm good until at least then.
By the
Um,
way, I was checking to see what the current prices are now. I paid 7 for my chip, and it's now 660, so it's only $40 less than before.
660.
So and even my, godlike motherboard, thank you very much. It's right here. It's very good. It's very powerful. Uh,
You sounded like Trump there.
I know, yeah, exactly. It's actually $30 cheaper than when I bought it. So they're really still up there, about the same as usual, I guess. But,
Yeah.
you know what? I
Yeah.
just thought of something too. This falls more
Uh-oh.
in the line with GPUs, but many times when you go out and you buy whatever it might be, or especially like cars and other things, you always have the manufactured retail price, right? And you always knew that price was only the suggestion of what to sell it for, roughly. And generally, you always knew that you could get it less than that. That's not true when it comes to GPUs. The manufacturer's retail suggested retail price is like there, and instead of going lower, it goes much higher. And it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't work that way. Why does it work that way? Only with
Yeah.
GPUs and other computer equipment.
Usually
It's
how it
nuts.
works.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, this new CPU is it's not even for grey or eye. It's literally is for the enthusiast that can't afford a Threadripper, but is going to be doing a lot of heavy editing, CAD work, whatever it is. It is a work machine. So it's not for any of us at all. But that's why they probably priced it like that, because they can.
Like, look,
Um,
if I was a millionaire, I would get the Threadripper only because two reasons: it's big as hell, and it's got a cool name.
They're awful for gaming, mate. They're awful for gaming because they
Well,
don't have high clocks because they've
yeah,
got so many cores.
but it's big. It's like huge.
It's like your yeah, it's like your godlike board that's fantastic, and you'll probably
Oh,
use
I'd have to get
30%
I'd
of
have to
its
get another
power.
case. I'd have to get a case even bigger to be able to house a Threadripper.
No, if you see if you see the I can't remember the terminology, but basically where the CPU sits in the motherboard,
Yeah,
the housing, it's just like 2 times the size of a normal chip in terms of
yeah,
how big the Threadripper takes up. So you need beefy cooling for it, but it is smart. The idea behind it is smart. It is for multimedia work for sure,
yeah, yeah.
but not for us. Not for us.
No, that would cost us way too much.
I think as well, the new chip takes a shit ton more power as well. Well, not shit ton more power, but like it's like 200 watt TDP. So that's a lot of juice. And my energy bill's already high enough as it is. So I'm definitely going to get that chip. I don't think.
I I got a
I
1,500 watt power supply, so I'm not gonna worry about power.
no, the electricity bill.
Oh, yeah, no,
Uh,
no, yeah, I
oh,
get it.
mine is very high. I'm noticing the more gadgets and toys and stuff I get, and every time I use the dryer, that like I just notice it. That it just stays on constant. It doesn't flash fast. It just stays on constant. So I'm like, no. And then the PC's on, the powerful PC, the TV, the big TV's on. I'm like, I was my energy bill was electricity last month was £100 alone for a small studio flat and only 30 for the gas. And I'm like, oh Jesus, man, I've
People see
got to
that and they
that
go like,
stage.
"This guy must be a PC enthusiast."
And then imagine you had the dryer on, the TV on, the PC on at the same time, man. Oh my God.
Well, the
I
funny
don't want
thing
to
is
think actually.
people don't realize, like, over here in Florida, that we have central air that's on, like, 24/7. So the central air takes up most of the electricity, then the refrigerator, and then the stove, and then the dryer and wash machine. So if you could
Mm.
do without all that, boy, your bill would be really cheap.
The weather you've got, you shouldn't have to very rarely ever use a dryer, man. Stick it out in your garden. It's hot enough that it should
Yeah,
come
right.
on.
No one will remember to take it in, it'll rain, and then you have to start all over again, like, nah, that's okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
anyway. Yeah, 9950 X3D2, probably not for 90% of people out there, but it is coming out on April 22nd for a retail price of $900 or £830. Moving on from that article, this one's a bit more recent. Rockstar, those guys, GTA
Okay.
guys, confirm new data breach. Yes, another one after hacker group threatens pay or we leak. So,
Tend to be
on
pretty common these days.
yeah, it is. It's people need to look after their security more often. I wait till you hear how they done it as well. On Saturday, like a couple of days ago of recording, so at the 11th of April, the group Shiny Hunters, that's what they're called, Shiny Hunters. So we think they're Pokemon enthusiasts or football sticker enthusiasts, one of the two, Shinies, you know, if you know, you know. Um, which had previously targeted Microsoft, Cisco, AT&T, and Ticketmaster, claimed that it had breached Rockstar via third-party analytic platform Anodot, which is used by companies to track cloud costs.
Mm.
Um, they go on to say, Shiny Hunters, this is a final warning to reach out by April 14th before we leak, along with several annoying digital problems that will come your way. I don't know what that means. Make the right decision. Don't be the next headline. But Rockstar, of course, came out quickly with this one and have said there is, quote, no impact on our organisation or players. We can confirm that a limited amount of non-material company information was accessed in connection with a third-party data breach. The incident has no impact on our organisation or our players. So no, we won't get to see GT early. We won't get to see play GT early, and the ending can't be spoiled, which is probably a good thing because they got hacked back in 2022, if you remember, which saw
Mm.
early leaked footage of GTA 6 be leaked online. And then the guy that done it, an 18-year-old Brit, was was convicted and placed in a secure hospital by a British judge because I don't think he was quite right.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, what's probably going to happen here is nobody really pays up because even if they did pay up, there's no evidence that they would delete the information they've got on their end. So while it's not vital, Rockstar will just say no chance. And you know that whole American adage, we don't negotiate with terrorists, even though they're not terrorists, but same difference. If
Yeah,
you give in, they're always going to be doing that and asking for money. So,
sure.
but this is embarrassing for Rockstar, a company of their size. They've been hacked before. This happens again. How does shit like this happen to the biggest companies, man? Like, I notice as my company that I work for has been IPO'd, like as on the stock exchange, that everything was ramped right up in terms of our security standards, our awareness, our auditing. Everything was ramped up because you're representing hundreds or thousands of shareholders. So these guys can't do that with the amount of money they've got.
Mm.
What is that all about, Greg? It's ridiculous. I don't get it at all. They won't get paid. This won't happen at all. As of recording this in April 13th, they've got until tomorrow, Tuesday, before they release what they've got. And we'll see what they've got. It's not going to be anything too important from what we've been told, but we'll soon find out soon enough. Were you hoping it would be new GTA 6 material, Grey? I don't like shit like that being spoiled, to be honest with you.
I'm not into GTA 6, so I don't really care as much. But I think a lot of this that's going on with Rockstar is because of GTA 6. I think people are just, I don't know, these people are coming out of the woodwork to try to break into digitally to Rockstar to find anything about GTA 6.
Yeah.
What was it? I don't know if it was 2022, like you were saying, but remember when they broke in, they actually had some footage from the game as like in its alpha, pre-alpha or something, and they released. I mean, that was like
Yeah.
and now I think there was a story I put it in our Discord the other day, which really got me kind of laughing. One of a couple of the artists that worked in the game or devs that worked on GTA 6 came out and says, "Well, don't expect it to look like the trailers that we've been showing." And I'm going like, "What are you doing?" So if they're coming out and saying like, "Don't expect it to look like the trailers," meaning it what? It's going to look like crap. I'm
Well,
like, "Oh
the
man."
trailers they brought out, they did say that there was a small amount of actual gameplay footage in that. I
They
couldn't tell.
I thought they said that there was more than a small, there was a bunch, and I don't, and then they just come out and say, "Well, don't expect it." Well, so in other words, the game cost like 800 million or gazillion or $1 billion, whatever it was. So $1 billion game, don't expect it to look like the like the trailer. It's gonna look like, whatever. I'm like, oh boy. I mean, at a billion
Yes.
bucks, the game should look like something you've never seen before.
It probably
Yeah.
will look stunning. Like GTA 5 when it came out looked absolutely gorgeous. It's only improved since, to be honest with you. So I can't imagine GTA 6 not being gorgeous. It will be. It will be. One fear some folk had with there being a leak here is they may delay again GTA 6 release, but there's been no mention or sign of that.
Mm.
So we're still on for the relevant time, which makes me think that nothing has actually been leaked or captured from the game to be
It's
leaked
it's
online.
Half-Life 3 all over again.
No, I got my hopes up slightly for that, and I shouldn't have. It's disappointing
I
on
have
my
a funny
part.
feeling. I think they were going to release it with the new Steam machine, but because of what happened in the market, now they've stalled the Steam machine, so no game. Maybe I don't know. It's just speculation, but
I mean, it's not bad speculation, man. It's possible, and it still could happen because we don't know when the new Steam machine's going out. So
yeah,
take that with a pinch of salt. So yeah, Rockstar being hacked again. You think they would get their shit together, but they clearly haven't. Most of the most of GTA 6's budget, $3 billion, whatever it is on wages, on salary, and a lot of that would have went to as we discussed last week, the staff at Rockstar North in Edinburgh and the UK, the wider UK area in general, on salary, which means that they must literally have the best of the best. They literally must have the best of the best staff there, the best talent, and that's why these games cost as much as they do. Thank God. Is there equivalent in the States, Gray, of public information, like for public limited companies? that you can see what they've earned and what they've made, and maybe it doesn't go into like exact categories, but it'll say what the salary level was or the bonus level, or that's the thing in the States as well, surely. Like
There's a lot of
a Freedom
things.
Information Act or something.
Yeah, when they do their fiscal year report, it usually a lot of stuff is in there. It may not be 100% of everything, but it's quite a bit, and you can usually
Yeah.
tell a lot from it. As far as what monies go where. I mean, it's done that way because when you go public with a company, that's what's going to happen. If you're private, then you don't have to reveal as much if you don't want to because it's a private company, as long as you pay your normal
Yeah.
taxes.
Like Valve, for example. Valve's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
example. They don't have to release anything on that because they're private. So
I mean, believe me, I
that's
think a lot of companies would rather be private, but you kinda can't. I mean, you have to open up and go public because you need the money invested, you
yeah.
know? It's kind of a double-edged sword because you get the advantage of having the money, but at the same time, now all of a sudden you gotta answer to all the investors, and people are always complaining about how that actually destroys content and games, and that's why it has to be put it out too soon, then there's a million bugs and blah, 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 you know?
Blah, 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 indeed. Yeah, a bit of a joke from Rockstar, but there you go. It doesn't really surprise me.
Mm.
That is me for now on the old tech news, Mr. Gray.
Alrighty, we're gonna roll into some game news. First up is something that I'm kind of waiting for. Halo campaign involved. This is the Unreal Engine remake of the old Halo games, and I really like the old Halo games because it brings back some fond memories of gaming way back then. And I did see some of the video of the new remake, and it looks really good. So apparently, it says the first entry, Halo Campaign Evolved, is supposedly going to come out July 28th. Now, this is a leak, but apparently the leaker that's leaking it has a pretty good track record. So they're talking about July 28th, which would probably coincide with the summer release of a lot of the Microsoft games on Game Pass. So that might all kind of come into one thing because they're going to have their normal summer, expose thing. So whatever. So that looks really interesting, and I hope it really happens. And they said how the leak went, which is funny. They said that the leaker put a cryptic message on X, and I'm not gonna repeat the whole thing, but basically he goes EA colon, then he goes 18 times 7 times MMX plus V1 6, Roman numerals mod 31, blah 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 blah. And somebody was able to sit there and glean off of that exactly what the release date was and the
I don't know
game.
who's more sad, the person who created that or the folk that tried to work it out. My
Yeah.
God.
Apparently, this has happened before with leakers. They have this formula, and they just put it out there and see if anybody can figure it out. And if they do, then it's the real
Right.
leak. So okay.
Yeah.
But with it coming in July, I think that's not too long to wait. So that'll be kind of cool. Um, they're talking about Xbox Games Showcase is going to air on June 7th. So that would probably be a good time to tell everybody when it's coming out and have new gameplay and stuff like that. So that'd be kind of cool.
Mm.
Some people, some hardcore fans are saying that they're a little disappointed that Halo Studios' decision not to remake the original's multiplayer features. I can understand that because I remember playing multi. Hey, how you doing there, Hans? Hans
Hello.
just joined us. He was running a little late. Now he's
Yep,
back.
I'm here. I'm here.
So I played, co-op with the old Halo games. I have a funny feeling the reason why they're not doing it, at least right now, is to get the game out. Once the game gets out, I got a feeling they're probably gonna DLC some kind of
Great.
co-op or multiplayer.
And to have Half-Life Infinite, that's a big, massive multiplayer game. So they maybe
Mhm.
don't want to eat into that at the moment. That could be it as well.
Well, you know what's gonna happen. If they don't put out a multiplayer, the modders are gonna do it. So, one way or the other, it's gonna end up happening. So,
If
we'll
they
see.
can, if they have the source, if they have
I've
the.
seen I don't put anything past modders. I've seen things that I can't even believe sometimes. How about the guy that makes the mods that turns games that are not VR into VR?
Do you not need the source
I
code for that to do that kind of level of alteration? Like add in multiplayer, so that's a
mhm.
massive deal.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So that's,
Mm.
some good news about Halo. We'll see what happens with that.
But
Um
real quick on that, Greg, before we move on to the
mhm.
next thing, Halo. really briefly, Halo is. I played Halo 1, 2, and 3, and I'm assuming this is Halo 1, judging by the title. I adored it at the time back in the day. I genuinely adored it. Got fed up with it pretty quickly. They made too many of them. I'm
Hmm.
glad to see they've done this because it will look shiny. And remember the whole thing, Halo was suffering quite badly because they were using their own slipstream or whatever they called their engine, and
Hmm.
nobody was trained up for it. So they'd have to get people in, train them up, and then get them to start making the game. And it was hurting them. So they actually changed to the Unreal 5 engine because more people will be clued up on it. Yeah, it'll cost them more money, but maybe save them money in the long run. Um, I look forward to seeing this because it will be available for Xbox Game Pass users, which is us. So looking forward to that coming out.
Yep. By the way, I'm just scrolling around the notes. So Hans here can do his thing.
Yeah,
Next
sorry,
story,
people.
and chime in
All
anytime you
good.
want there, Hans. The next thing I picked out was an article I saw about Bethesda and Todd. I always like to bring up Todd because you end up finding out some weird things about what he does for
Todd
some strange
Howard.
reason.
Oh man.
Yeah, Todd Howard. So
Whew.
uh, I like how the guy starts out the article saying that Bethesda games certainly aren't lacking in launch issues, and he's going the presence of charming, he calls it, charming bugs and funny physics glitches are sort of the studio maker's mark at this point. Just in reading that one sentence, I mean, so what you're saying is over the years they're getting more and more known for having buggy games right at the start. I mean, terribly buggy games, and they're just
They
going
are.
like, "Oh yeah, that's just Bethesda." Like,
It's called the Bethesda jank. I mean,
yeah, I
it's
mean, why would you want
kind
to
of
put up with that?
synonymous with Bethesda games now. There's no
Yeah,
escaping
so
it.
so every game that comes out, we should always expect this, and I'm not knocking it. They're right. I mean, when Starfield came out, that pretty much iced the cake right there, and it was worse, not better. It was worse, as far as the mistakes and things and how it looked and the art style and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, but what was interesting, they were talking to a couple of the devs, I guess maybe that don't work at Bethesda anymore, and they're saying that, or they're admitting, they said that they guarantee that 95% of the stuff that players have brought up after a game was launched, every single one of them brought it up to Todd before it came out. So they all knew how many bugs are in there. They all knew how bad it was, and yet they just brought it out anyway. Um, it says we're gamers and we're going to play the game. We play and see the same things that gamers do. These are the devs that used to work there. That's all fair enough. Honestly, I've never respected the idea that video game developers are somehow lazy. Most are trying very hard to make a good game. Most issues stem from production, management, and the simple fact that video games need to make money and have to come out at some point, which we've been talking about. So you're beholden so much to the investors and make them happy that you put out a buggy game. But what doesn't make any sense, if you put out a really buggy game and it doesn't sell, then what do you do? It's like, oh, the investors don't care. They say, yeah, just put it out. Oh, but it won't sell. Oh, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Until later, and
The
then they go
thing
like,
is
why'd you
though,
put it out?
it will
Like,
sell. It's a
because
Bethesda
you
game.
wanted us to. Like,
So, Bethesda will sell its games no matter how bad it is. I mean, it's crazy, but it is.
it is
what it is.
crazy. Absolutely. They said that, it says here, Todd Howard expressed a very similar rub to him in those meetings. Todd used to say in the meetings, this is great. We can do anything, but we can't do everything. So we can do anything, but we can't do everything. So what they're saying is he's saying that they can do it all, but they just don't. So it's like, okay.
I'll see to add into that comment, Gray, and actually talk about Starfield in relation to that comment. It was
Mhm.
ironic because I was watching Digital Foundry's PS5 Pro stroke PS5 coverage of it,
Uh-huh.
because they brought that out not that long ago and they were doing an in-depth review of it. It's not good. Like they've
No,
had
I know.
all this time and it's laggy, it's stuttery, it's a bit of a mess, and I'm just like, guys, really?
Yeah, I
You've
heard
had
it
all
was.
this time?
Is it true that the game is actually borderline unplayable on PS5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
I
don't
read
know if
something
any
about
new
it. So
patches have come out, Hans. I don't know if any new patches, but certainly at one point, yes.
shouldn't
The,
be.
th- the thing that's crazy about that, though,
No.
I even read an article or two before it came out on PS5 Pro that it was going to look better on it because of this, and this. And I'm going like, really? Okay, we'll see. And sure enough, it's worse. So I just don't get it. I mean, no wonder Bethesda's going down the tubes with all this stuff. No wonder people are out there leaving companies like we discussed last podcast and working on their own stuff. Um, anyway, the guy was also commenting. He says, when the head of a studio says that Starfield probably won't be getting a 2.0 overhaul, it's hard to imagine that anything like Fallout 76 would happen. So what he was saying is that at least Fallout 76 they finally did turn it into a good game, but now they don't even do that. So it's like
No, Starfield got a lot better on PC and Xbox. They
it
got
got
it a
better.
lot
I
better.
wouldn't say a lot
But
better.
no, I didn't say it was Game of the Year or anything, but they improved it quite a lot. And now that's why I don't understand why it's so janky for PlayStation 5 when they had this time, man. They need to stop bringing out games at the start that are janky. I've seen a common trend here. Their creation engine, or whatever the hell they call it, is shit. That's the common trend here. Like, move to something else, please, or actually make an engine that's good, because it keeps having problems. Bethesda jank.
It just seems like they never evolve. I mean, it looks the same as their other games. And especially the art design. Oh man, that is awful. That's why, like I was saying, when we were looking at the DLSS 5.0 or AISS as I call it, it made them look so much better. And I'm sitting there going like, wow,
They need that. Todd's like, oh, I can't wait for that to come out. Finally, my games will look decent.
I'm waiting for Todd to come out and go like, see, all you need to do is have DLSS 5 and everything's fine. Like, okay. So from now on, we're going to make everything look like it's 16-bit, and we're just going to let DLSS 5 bring it all the way up.
And only anyone with a 5000 series NVIDIA PC GPU can actually fucking use it.
Crazy, man. Absolutely. Remember, I think if you remember back when I was telling you guys that there seems to be a games showcase of some kind every month now. Yeah, well, now there's another one coming. So, like, I didn't even heard of this one. This is Galaxy's Spring Showcase 2026. And apparently it's going to be coming up this week at the time we're doing this the recording. So it's coming the 16th, I believe. And yeah, the 16th, it's going to be 8 p.m. GMT. And IGN is apparently heavily involved with this. So if you want to watch it, tune in, I guess. I'll take a look at it, I guess. But in any case, this thing's coming out. And they say, supposedly, that they're going to have 50 games, 7 world premieres from some of the biggest publishers, studios,
and developers. That's not how you say it. You got to say it properly.
What?
World premiere.
Oh, world premiere. Day one.
That's better.
And of course, Bethesda probably will be there and just go, look, we're looking at a new game. Nobody knows. We don't care. Just go away.
I'll be out in 20 years.
Yeah.
But just to give you a quickie on what's going to be there, more or less, I'll go through it quickly. But Bandai Namco be showing off new gameplay trailer for Sword Art Online, JRPG Echoes of Aincrad. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but Focus Entertainment will feature Yerba Buena, the last DLC for Atomic Heart. Fumi Games and Playside Studios will launch a spotlight of Mouse PI for Hire. Supermassive Games, this is interesting, will give us a deep dive into their sci-fi horror adventure Directive 8020, which actually looks good. It's got like shades of Resident Evil / a couple of other different kind of games all mangled into one. It looked good. It really did look good. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Team 17 will show off its hardcore 50 versus 50 FPS Hell Let Loose Vietnam and share the release date for tactical turn-based roguelite war drum, excuse me. While Shiro Games will bring us Spacecraft, Forever, and Frost Rail. So 3 games coming up from them. What else we got here? We have game When Sirens Fall Silent. We have Bus Bound. Okay. Sounds like a bus simulator. That's good for Matt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to play that one.
Yeah, where's Matt when you need him? He's the guy.
Right. Let's see. Fans will be able to look forward to appearances by Phasmophobia Rivage, World of Tanks Heat Hunt Down, Overtime, 33 Immortals, the Caribou Trail. Is that like the Oregon Trail, but you're following animals or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The Oregon Trail, the 8 people. No, wasn't it something? No. Was it that one?
Sovereign,
Yeah. Okay.
the Sovereign Tower, Scramble Knights Royale, Second Stone, Casual Loop, and the list goes on and on.
Okay. So,
So,
serious question: is there any game at all we care about in this one?
yeah, I care about the direction. What is it? Directive 8020. That looks really good. So I'm looking forward to that. It has, and like I said, it has like Dead Space vibes,
Because
Resident
gotta be
Evil
honest,
vibes.
I haven't heard of 90% of these games that you just summed up.
Neither have I. I mean, the only one, like I said, is Directive. So, oh no,
That's-
Atomic Heart DLC
Atomic
for
Heart,
Atomic Heart.
that I know, and Bandai Namco, of course, because they make a lot of JRPGs. That one I know also, but
Yeah,
all the rest,
so that could be good.
not.
I love when they put these little votes in here. These are kind of cool. IGN polls people, and they usually get 150,000 people to reply. So I'm just going to do this because it's fun. But what's your favorite horror series? So they put down Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Five Nights at Freddy's, Dead Space, Fear, Alone in the Dark, or something else. And so you want to know the results? Mine, right?
Well,
Resident
let's
Evil
say
wins.
maybe let's say what we think is the favorite one before you go to the result.
Okay, go ahead.
So for me, that would be Silent Hill, probably when it comes to horror. Not because of the gameplay, but I think it has more horror in it than Resident Evil. So
Okay.
Trev,
What do you think,
be-
Trev? Are you guessing, or did you look at it?
I was looking at it, and there isn't much on that list I'm interested. I'll be honest here. Like,
No, we were asking the horror genre. Which of the
the horror
horror genre?
apologies. The
Yes,
horror.
favorite
Yeah,
horror
I think
series.
I think I've said to you guys before, I'm not a massive fan of it, with the exception of Resident Evil.
Okay, so you're not a Silent Hill fan player.
I was. I think I like the movies more than the game because I started
Really?
playing the remake game and I wasn't enjoying it.
Okay, cool.
It's,
But,
it's way, way, way more mysterious than Resident Evil. Resident Evil's just
that's why I like it more when it comes to the story, not because of the game, right?
It's got the perfect blend of, for me, Resident Evil's got the perfect blend of action, puzzles, story, all together. It looks nice, it plays nice, whereas
And monsters.
the monsters were Silent Hill was just, I've been walking about a street that I can't see anything for the last 20 minutes and nothing's happened.
That's the thing. I believe that Silent Hill has better horror. Not better gameplay, but better horror.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I feel much more uncomfortable playing Silent Hill than I am playing Resident Evil. So
what it is in Silent Hill is more psychological horror, whereas Resident Evil is more monster-based horror.
I said to Hans recently that a few days ago I beat Resident Evil Requiem finally because I took my time over it. 28 hours or something I put into it in total.
That's more than me. I think at 20. I think. So.
No, but I take my time. I want to enjoy it on purpose, you know.
But wait a minute, you took your time, but it still only took 20 hours.
28 for Hans.
I took about 20.
28.
I think it was. I need to check quickly, but I think it was about.
Not to say that it's not a good game. I'm sure it was, and you had fun. But whenever I hear that, it's like I'm paying $70 for a 20-hour game.
That's the norm.
I mean,
that's
23.
Normal,
23 to be.
And to be fair, you can't judge a game by how many hours gameplay you get of it because Crimson Tide will be like 100 or 200 hours, and a lot of that will be shit and repetitive. So, like I told you this about The Last of Us Part 2. It went on too long. As much as I loved it, I was like, "Please end now, please." I'm exhausted, mentally exhausted.
Yeah, but when I play a game like the Horizon series or the God of War series, I'm usually putting in minimum 80, if not 100, 120 hours. And I'm loving every minute of it. So when I hear about a game that's good, but it's 25.
Before we go to the results, because I had actually a point on this one on the notes, right? So talking about Crimson Desert, so let's blend it in here for a second, right? My question actually was, at what point does a game become too big, right? Because like Crimson Desert is a game actually, by all metrics, I should like that game and I should be playing the crap out of it, right?
Right.
Because it's something I should be really into. And for some reason, when I boot the game up, I am completely overwhelmed with what there is to do and what you should do. It's like, and I'm like, this is actually maybe too big because I genuinely don't know where to start, even, so to speak. Right. So my question was, do you think a game can be too big sometimes for its own good? I mean, I feel that about Crimson Desert because the game is great. Everything is awesome. and still I can't get into it because it's like, what do I do?
It's overwhelming.
Actually? Yeah.
And if you have a game like that that's so big that you can only, that'll be your main game at the time, you can't really afford time to do anything else because it's so overwhelming. I got into this with Breath of the Wild.
Me with Tears of the Kingdom. So Breath of the Wild was okay.
Well, see, I've only started that game, so that's why I need to get into that zone and that mode. And once I'm in that mode, I will be in it until I've beat the game. But I need to get into the right mindset for it. But as I was saying before, Resident Evil 9 was completed, took my time with it, enjoyed it. But the problem I said to Hans was, as enjoyable as it was, the end boss was so disappointing because it was so easy to kill. I never even tried to avoid the tentacles because
on hard you need to
spoil it because I didn't know how to, and I didn't bother trying to find out how to because I was like, I've got enough meds here, syringes.
Shoot the blobs.
I'll just
so
no, but to avoid getting hit by the
no, but you can. I think you played on normal or easy. I think you said so.
I just put on standard.
Standard mode. I'm
not great. I never play a game in easy. I play
on hard. You can actually, if you don't dodge the tentacles, you die. So that's
yeah, but when they're giving you damage, they don't actually give you that much damage. So I literally just got my I save up the rounds for the machine gun. I don't use it often. And when I need to use it, it's just
I use a shotgun. I use a shotgun to do it.
No, so do I. That's my go-to weapon. But if I need something fast, machine gun, then shotgun.
Speaking of Resident Evil Requiem, I think the enemies before the final boss, like those lickers or whatever they're called, right? Those lickers? Are harder than the final boss.
Wait a minute.
They are.
They call lickers, literally. They call them like that, I
From
think.
the original game, Greg. You don't remember their big long tongues and they climbed on the ceilings? You don't remember the movies?
Yeah.
I do, but it's just funny when I hear lickers. I'm going like...
They are harder to kill. That's why I throw acid at them.
You can throw acid at them. Way to do it.
Some people probably get enjoyment out of that, but I don't know.
But see,
throwing acid.
The thing is though, I can understand Gray because there's one certain game that I can't play just because of the name. It's called RimWorld. There's no way I'm able to play it. I can't. Almost all my friends play that game, right? It's supposed to be a really good game. It's like, I can't play this.
I remember back in the day, boys. I remember way back in the day when we were Extreme PC UK, and I think Nick reviewed it back in the day. He said, I've reviewed.
I remember that.
I'm already laughing ahead of time. He's like, I reviewed RimWorld, and I'm just like,
I can't play that game just because of the name. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So,
but wait a minute. What about genital jousting? People can play that.
Yeah, but that's where you know what you're getting, and that game doesn't take itself serious.
Right?
Exactly. Let's not take the piss out of that game. Like, listen, this is just a willy that's going to work and trying to feed its family and make a living and wears a tie around its neck.
And gets a paper cut and bleeds.
Exactly. It happens. It shaves. The willy shaves, and you know it's a genius game. I should start campaigning for genital jousting too.
Yeah. So okay, on to the results.
Multiplayer co-op
online.
Before we move on, let's get the results. So, favorite horror series: 44% people said Resident Evil. That's on top. 12% said Silent Hill. 11 for Five Nights at Freddy's. 9 for Dead Space. Fear 5. Alone in the Dark 1. And Something Else got 14%. Something Else actually beat almost everybody on the board except for Resident Evil. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Silent Hill is that low.
Yeah, I am as well, but it's because it's not as well known of a franchise.
True.
They only made the 2 movies. They only made 2 games, and they come out with a recent one just there. They haven't done nowhere near as much. That's why I think.
Yeah.
And something just came to my mind really quickly. Sorry, side tangent there, Hans. When I was complaining about the boss in Resident Evil 9, I also thought he's unofficially to me the mini boss, the Wesker ripoff, the guy that moves really fast.
Yeah, that is it.
He's get killed way too easy. So I was like, I want to fight him. Like,
did you? By the way, did you have the good ending?
Is so disappointing.
Did you get the good ending or the bad ending?
I actually, when I came up, I googled online, not what the ending was. Let me finish my sentence. I googled online which option should I go, not what they do. I said, what should I go? And it said, we recommend going with the good ending. So I went with the recommendation.
Yeah. I got
Why?
the good ending also. So
Yeah, because if you
Because
did
you have to restart it if you do the bad ending.
yeah, I
apparently,
know. I
so
didn't want to do that.
what's the point?
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
that's really stupid though. Why wouldn't they have like a save point where you can go back a little bit and
Oh,
then
you can create
do
your
the
own.
bad
Create your
ending?
own.
You can if you want.
Oh, but you didn't use save ribbons, or...
No, but I use the normal typewriters to save,
okay,
and
so,
I
yeah.
always save. I always save a couple of save files, and I
Same.
alternate between them.
Yeah, same.
So-
If you forget something or whatever.
Well,
so,
if you really wanted to play the bad ending as opposed to the good ending, all you got to do is find a save file online, put it in, and then go
True.
for the bad ending.
I
I mean, they have
I
save
would only
files
do
for
it for the
everything now.
achievement to get it quickly out of the way. So that's all.
It's an achievement.
I guess so. No, isn't it?
I don't know.
No, I guess so.
I've
'Cause,
only done 60% of the achievements. I don't go out my way to look for that stuff.
I
And the
think you have
little
more
Exactly.
achievements than me. Then let's see.
the little statue things
no.
that you hit, like I thought I found them all, but clearly I haven't because that's still one to find.
Apparently, I have 85% of achievements. Okay, never mind. So,
I
You're
think
that
with the
kinda guy,
achievements,
though.
like I think we're all pretty much similar. I don't really care about the achievements, but when I'm done playing the game, or even in the middle of the game, I'll go on Steam just to see what the and I won this, and went, oh, all right, whatever.
I tend to not look at him because sometimes the achievements actually are a spoiler of the game.
Yeah, because the
that's
ones
true.
that are grayed out, if you read the ones that are grayed out, you start learning a little bit and like,
Yeah, it's like
nope,
no.
This
try
is
not
what
to.
I like about the PlayStation trophy system, and I don't like trophies. It hides what they are. It gives you an option to hide what they are, the titles, if you don't want to
Yeah.
spoil it. That should be industry standard, I think, so that you don't
true,
get spoiled.
Agree. That should be standard. Yeah.
But,
or at least give
yeah.
you the choice, like you said, you could hide or not hide, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, man.
All right.
Anyway,
well, that
sorry.
was my. No, that's cool. That was my gaming news. We're going to move on to some more hardware tech news, and Hans is going to talk about his 5080 laptop.
Yeah, not mine. By the way. Not my 58 laptop. So.
Oh,
And
you
to be
got
fair-
rid of it,
one.
yeah.
To be fair, I was pretty disappointed in the 58 laptop. It was an Asus ROG Strix G18, the gaming laptop with the 5080 in it, and a 275 Intel HX processor. So, but I don't think that means a lot, so to speak, when you have a 5080 in your laptop. But I was kind of disappointed because just like in the desktop variant, right?
Mhm.
I have a 4090 laptop. It is still better than a 5080 laptop. So, and that was a bit disappointing because they're already not as powerful as a desktop variant, of course. I was like, okay, so the 5080 has it's more frame gen, all kind of stuff. You can use a dynamic frame gen. We'll get to that in a second because that is, yikes, dynamic frame gen. But actually, to be fair, my 4090 laptop was on average about 10 to 15% faster in every game, even with 2x frame gen on.
Well,
So
Then the 5080. Wow, that's considerably much
Yeah.
more.
So, and there were even some games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which was the outlier, was like, I think even 30% faster on my 4090, but I don't think that's a normal result. So, again, I'm not
Yeah.
an official tester. I do it as is. And my message would be there are some people out there also in the laptop space that actually want to upgrade laptop every generation, right? Which in my opinion is lunacy because they cost like $4,000 or something, like a 58 laptop over here.
Yeah.
Especially the 18-inch ones.
Aren't they pretty heavy too? Because
they're
everything loaded in
almost
there.
5 kilograms, which is 2.5 pounds approximately. I
Oof.
guess. So
That's lighter than I thought it would be, but still.
yeah, 1 pound is 2 kilograms. No, I'm wrong here. I'm sorry, I'm not really.
something like that.
Yeah, I'm good in the
Yeah.
conversion. So yeah, no, they're pretty heavy. Also, they're. If you buy a laptop like that for gaming, it's not one you should haul around everywhere because if you
Yeah.
unplug the power, you lose like half your gaming ability, so to speak, and 1 hour, maybe 2 hours max on battery. That's it.
See,
Yeah.
that annoys me, Hans, because I use multiple platforms, right? I use a Mac at work, and I don't game with it because I'm not allowed to. But when I did test some games out for it, for what it was, while the Mac was on power, mains power or not, it can hold the same performance.
Yeah.
Why you
This one
can't
doesn't.
do that on a Windows
Yeah.
machine? And it must be something to do with the hardware and the software not being as closely linked as it is with Apple. Because if
Yeah.
you should have enough wattage to keep that performance on battery. It should
Yeah.
go down quick, but it shouldn't tank. because you're
Yeah,
not
no, the
connected to mains.
performance
Yeah.
gets almost halved if you're not on the power.
Wow.
So
What's the use of a laptop then? I mean, you have to have it powered on all the time.
I'm gonna go on a limb here with people that actually buy gaming laptops as their main rig, which there's actually quite a lot of people out there that do that. I was surprised
Yeah.
by that myself.
Yeah.
They're like us, and they don't hold it around everywhere. Just like, this is my laptop right here, my game laptop, boom, and it stands there plugged in, and that's it. So
Why would you do
I
that
don't-
though? Why would
There's-
you? What reason would there be?
Personally, I can't think of a real good reason, but if you go online and just look on Reddit or Facebook, even on a few Facebook groups, there's a lot of people that actually like gaming that way on a gaming laptop. They just use that
Mm.
as
You know,
their main rig. Like, it's
I
compact.
think part of it is the ones that buy gaming laptops. I think in that this may not be everybody, but I think they're kind of like PC enthusiast wannabes. In other words, they're kind of like they don't want to go the full way that we go with the whole big rig, but they don't want crap either. So they basically just kind of come halfway with the gaming
Yeah,
laptop.
no,
Kinda
I think that's actually a good thing, because a lot of people that buy those laptops, gamers, and I'm talking about gaming laptops
Sure.
right away specifically, right? So, right, I think it's just like a lot of people don't want to deal with the hassle, or generally don't have the space to put it there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
space. Yeah.
So,
Well, remember some
and
years ago we would laugh when somebody said gaming laptop. We went like, yeah,
but
right.
if you look at it from afar, those gaming laptops, they aren't bad, right? I mean, on my 49 laptop, Crimson Desert, with just the normal frame gen, runs about 110 FPS in cinematic mode, which is insane. I mean,
Yeah.
laptops like a few years ago weren't able to do all that kind of stuff. And I do think for what it is, they are cool. But let's say like a 5080 laptop, if you buy a laptop today, right, you can't buy the 40 series anymore. If you're in the market for a gaming laptop and you already own like a 4080 laptop or a 49 laptop, there's absolutely no incentive to upgrade this, because you get in best case you get like a 1% uplift, and that's
Yeah.
mostly due to frame gen then. And that's my next complaint. Frame gen, multi frame generation then, I mean, on a laptop, the 50 series laptop was bad. I'm sorry, I can't say any. I'm not gonna mince words here. It was just a bad experience. It wasn't fun.
Was it just janky and
It was, some games were borderline unplayable. There was a lot
Really?
of input lag, and I'm not sure if it's the machine or the game. But I tested multiple games, and each one was actually equally as crap as the other one when you put on multi-frame gen. 2 times frame
Uh-huh.
gen, perfect.
I was just
right?
going to ask, what did you do? Yeah, 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 times
Okay.
is perfect. 3 times unplayable. 4 times, not even gonna mention that. So
What about
dynamic
6?
frame,
No.
yeah, we'll get to that also in a second, right?
Yeah.
Because dynamic frame gen, then there was also, I'm having a problem with dynamic frame generation. It could be me, but apparently there's a few people out there that experience the same problems.
Hans, a quick question. That is the multi-frame gen, is it an option in the game to be toggled on and off? Or are you forcing it on at the NVIDIA level?
The games I tested was 1 in the NVIDIA level and 1 in the game. Crimson Desert and in game.
Oh, does it have it in
Yeah,
game?
it has it in game, yeah. So
Oh,
right,
interesting.
well, you
Okay.
can go to ×4, but on the laptop it was a horrible experience. On my desktop, perfect. I put 3 times frame gen, 4 times frame gen, worked perfectly. I didn't have any complaints. But on the laptop, it wasn't a fun experience. So
What were you
is it
playing frame gen on Crimson Desert on your, not the laptop, but the desktop?
my normal rig. So what was the question? Sorry, say again.
How much frame gen did you use on your normal computer for
×2.
Crimson Desert?
Yeah, ×2.
×2. Okay.
Yeah,
I was going to say, because I got everything jacked up. I mean all the ray tracing and everything.
Yeah,
And
same.
without putting 2x, I was getting on Crimson Desert around, I believe, 50, 60. And then when I popped on 2, I was getting more like 100, 120.
Yeah, that's what I'm playing at, like 110,
which is fine.
120.
Yeah.
The game is pretty good optimized, so it runs very
Oh
well.
yeah. I mean, if you
Also on
crank
the
everything
laptop,
up with yeah. I mean, you had those pictures you posted in Discord. It
Yeah.
looked really good.
I was
And when I
surprised
went
how
in on
well
it
this
with the-
game run on my laptop. I was like, okay, I'm gonna test it out. Like, 4090 older card now, still good, but older, and laptop which is significantly weaker than desktop 4090. Put everything on cinematic, and I got like with frame gen like 90 to 100 FPS.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
which
doing.
is insane. I mean, kudos to the devs that actually coded that game. So, because if I play Sons of the Forest, a survival game, we sometimes play that on the laptop, on the 49 laptop, it on max setting is thanks to like 30, 40 FPS. I need to use frame generation, but then through also scaling. So, which by the way works a lot better in my opinion at the moment than dynamic
On the
frame
laptop.
generation. Yeah, on the laptop.
On the
yeah,
laptop?
on the laptop. Yeah.
Right, not on the
No.
desktops.
No, my desktop, the 5090. I think if you compare it desktop versus laptop, I think my 5090 desktop is about 3 times faster, maybe 4 times than
I would
4090
hope
laptop.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on the game, of course, and optimization. But I think
I
for a
haven't played.
laptop,
I
like
haven't played. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I haven't played a lot of Crimson Desert, but from what I've seen, it looks really good with everything jacked up. I mean, it does look really good.
But that was the ideal game to test those laptop also, because the 58
Yeah.
laptop left me a bit disappointed. Like, okay, I wouldn't pay like $4,000 for this.
Oh God, no.
So
and you can't upgrade it either. So it's such a niche audience it's aimed at. It's
well, that I thought also, but then when you start to look at it from a broader view, right? There's a lot of people playing on laptops apparently. I'm not gonna say which ones, I can't say that, but there's a lot of people that just prefer a laptop, and I think
what's the RAM on the 5080 laptop?
32 also.
Is it 32? Okay.
Oh, sorry, you mean the video memory or the RAM?
No, the RAM memory, the normal RAM.
32, yeah. 32.
Okay.
So
Well,
so,
since you mentioned it, what is the VRAM on the 5080 laptop?
I think it was 12 or 16. So
yeah, that's a norm.
16, yeah. And on the 4090, it's also 16. Yeah, also 16. That's no, it's 16. Yeah, 16, but on both. So
Because with all the new software, you don't need that anymore.
No, yeah, true. But to be fair, the 4090 laptop will be able to do all that thing, I guess. Is it only 50 series that get those new suites software?
For what
don't quote me.
Yeah, I'm not sure that. But yeah, you need to separate the laptop from a desktop if you own both, because there's a lot of people, and that I think is blatant false marketing. A lot of people that are not into tech as we are look at this like, whoa, hey, a 5090 laptop, only $5,000. But if you go do the math, then like if you have nothing and you start from scratch, you need your CPU, your GPU. You're also gonna pay about 5,000, right, for a 5090 rig at least. Even with the screen, the laptop has it all in one.
If you're not going to be, bringing it around everywhere like a laptop, then why would you want to sink that kind of money when you can get a better rig?
I'm saying that's a false marketing, because people believe them. Like, oh, I got a 5090 right here. No, you don't.
It is for a small niche of people, for sure.
I think
there are people
if you buy a 5090 laptop, you own like what I think is like a 4080 Ti 4090 level desktop thingy.
Yeah, it's usually whatever the card is, say that's the 5080 in your friend's laptop hands, that's usually the power. It's usually the power, from my experience, of a desktop generation down. Not generation, but a card down.
Yeah,
so
at least.
The 5080 mobile would be like a 5070 desktop power-wise.
It's worse. No. 5070 desktop is better. Yeah, no. Go to the 40 series. I'm guessing
being generous then.
Yeah, you're being generous. No, that's...
And it is for a niche of people that I can think of. We have one of the guys in our football podcast that works offshore a lot on oil rigs, and he's there for, it's either 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, something like that. That's perfect for him. He could take that across. I'm not saying he does. I don't think he is a gamer, but that he could take that across. That would occupy him so much than carrying even a mini PC with him. Or people that are in uni or something for 9 months or 8 months, whatever, and they want it to be portable, that go from place to place, but not every day because it's too heavy. So it's a niche thing, but it's cool. True. It's just not for me.
I said it before. The 4090 laptop that I bought from a trucker. So he quit his job. He quit his job. It's like, I don't need it anymore. So he bought a desktop for at home, right? And I only paid $2,000 for it, which was, by the way, a really good price back then. And I was like, okay, I'm on the road a few times a year. We go sleep in hotels. I'm just taking it with me now. It's a great addition.
And you're using it a lot at the moment because you...
At the moment, I use it a lot because there's problems with something else. So I'm not gonna get
Yeah, we
into
know.
it this week, but there's some more AM5 woes came up. So
Oh dear.
I'm so sick of it.
No
It is
wonder.
what it is. Yeah. Anyway,
cool.
that was my
I don't know.
rant about laptops. One thing I want to end on a positive note, maybe. So one thing I
Okay.
have to say, I own an OLED ultra wide screen, and
Mhm.
this one has a Nebula HDR display, which is kind of like a quantum dot mini LED thingy, right? And I think on a laptop, I prefer that over the OLED.
Oh yeah.
It's brighter. The darkness is also perfect. There's little difference between OLED, but again, we're talking about a laptop that costs 4K or something new, right? So
How big is the
yeah,
screen on that laptop?
18-inch, which for a
Yeah,
laptop
It's an
is, by the
18?
way, is
gaming
pretty
laptops
big
usually
for
are about 17, 18 inches.
yeah. It
Usually.
starts at 15, 16 over here, and then 17 is more expensive, and 18 is then like your high-end category, and those cost a lot of money. I was just looking at a 5090 one, they're 5,600 euros. I was like, there's no way.
Wow.
Who buys this? Right? I mean, yeah. Apparently there are.
Some
Somebody
people.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Some people that can write a check and laugh about it. That's the ones that buy it.
I'm not one of those. I can't do
Not
that.
that you know. Like, we work hard for our 5090s.
At least mine is paid off in full.
Yeah. So's mine
Yeah,
actually. but-
we don't offer favors in toilets to pay it off though. So like,
I don't
good.
care. It is paid. So yeah.
Hey, I don't know if you remember, Hans, but I sold my 4070 Super
Yeah.
for 400. No, 450. And I just sold my RAM, 32 gig of RAM for 501.
Crazy.
I was like, yeah.
I looked
And it-
actually this morning at my RAM, right, which I bought
Yeah.
for 299 euros. The same RAM kit, which is Corsair Dominator Titanium 6000, 46 gig, 12 to 1300 euros. Over here.
It's
Same
pretty
thing.
wild.
If
I have
I-
a story about that coming
If
up.
I'd known
later.
that, I would have bought like 10, and I would,
Well,
be richer.
No one knew
hindsight.
it. I mean,
I put my old RAM up for sale, some old RAM that I had recently. See if I can get some pennies in for it. So that'd be interesting. I was inspired.
I would sell because I was glad I got the 500 because I read that RAM prices are now finally dropping. Not to
Oh,
where
not
they
a
used
lot.
to be.
Not a lot.
Right, but I'm just saying. Not where they used to be. Yeah, stabilizing maybe a little lower, but
The new normal. So
oh my God, don't even say that. I mean, I want to hear new normal and the prices how high they are. I go like, no. It's like, no
That's
new
funny.
normal. Anyway, we're going to move along with some game news. Trev's got a few things. Go ahead, bud.
I do. Any Metro fans of the game? Any Metro gaming fans here?
I played the last one.
Was that
Died.
Exodus?
I played
Is that
one of
right?
them.
Yeah, I think
Played
so.
one. I like the concept of it. There's going to be probably, I don't know if this ties in with your next gaming event thing that's coming, Gray, but Metro 2039 is what the next one's going to be called. Deep Silver and 4A games. I don't know, but I know Deep Silver.
It's Exodus, by the way. Just
Exodus, yes, that's what I thought. Aye, nice one. The new game will be revealed. Says Xbox first look, so I'd imagine, I don't know if that's a Xbox PC Game Pass thing, on April the 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific time and 8 o'clock EET. What is that?
Eastern
GM.
something.
What are you looking
I
at?
don't know.
What I wrote?
No.
Oh,
One
in the
I wrote.
article.
So yeah,
And it's gonna be that part of the spring showcase, I'll bet, because that is also airing on the same day.
Yeah, probably is. Like, I don't know what EET is, but anyway. Probably the same thing Gray's talking about. I'm not,
Maybe.
I wouldn't say I was a massive fan, but I played the last game, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of the first games that actually brought out, baked in ray tracing to the game as an
That's
option.
the reason. That's the whole reason I played it back in my 2080 Ti that I bought back then.
That was stunning.
And
But
I was
mean,
really
yeah.
pissed off at Epic Game Store back then because I pre-ordered a physical edition, right? 2 weeks before the game comes out, Epic buys the rights or something, and it was exclusive to the Epic Game Store. So I was like, okay, whatever. I pre-ordered the physical edition on Steam. Physical with the Steam key, right? So I go to pick up my copy, and there's a sticker of a new code over the Steam code with Epic. And that's how I needed to make that Epic launcher back then. So
Are they allowed to do that?
They did that 2 weeks before the game came out. So I played the game on Epic, and then I just closed the Epic account. It was done, right? So it was you, right?
I don't see how that's even allowed.
No, they did it
But it's got to be.
because Epic wanted to bring exclusivity to, to their platform.
And how did that work? Not
really good because they're not doing fantastic. So,
Oh,
man.
damn. Well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm not a massive fan of the series, but I did enjoy the last game. If this comes to Game Pass, then it's a no-brainer for me. It's always a stunning looking game. Whatever the name of the engine that they use, I think it's maybe one of their own, looks stunning. Usually runs pretty well as well. So, and it usually takes place in like Eastern Europe somewhere. So
it's in Russia all the time, I think.
Well, I don't know if it's Russia or old USSR or whatever, or just Eastern Europe in general, but it's that neck of the woods.
It's in
like,
Russia. It's literally in Russia.
Everything's been nuked and it's kind of a shithole and whatnot. So
because the ending was in Moscow, I think, if I remember correctly. From the
well, the original game, I know was, but I don't. After that, I think some of them were, but
6 p.m. UK time. Oh, I might be able to watch that. What day is that? That's a Thursday. Possibly.
There you go.
That could be cool, actually. I might watch that one. There's
6 p.m.? That's actually 2 hours before the showcase that I was talking about. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh. Well, I don't know if this is their own actual reveal, like via an Xbox showcase on Thursday. That's what it says. Via an Xbox showcase on Thursday. So anyway, by the time you listen to this, it'll probably be out or just been announced. So yeah. Check that out. That's a very good solid game. And if it's on Xbox Game Pass, I will be all over that shiznit. The other thing I wanted to talk about was something that should have never happened in the first place, but did. And that's now officially Crimson Desert now supports Intel GPUs, because it didn't at the start. Most people, as you know, couldn't play it. They got a message saying, get a refund for the game. You guys are like wasters and peasants and stuff. We don't support your GPU. And yeah, now they've actually, the outcry meant that they had to actually plumb in the support. The patches have been good for that game. I've seen them coming out. Like, obviously, Hans talked about multi-frame gen. I'll need to check that out. That's exciting. They are putting fixes in across the board. I love the fact that their graphical settings go from like low all the way up to cinematic mode, which is beyond ultra. Like, I thought ultra was literally the top, but no, they invented a new tier, cinematic. So do you know what I'll do? I'll do what I always do, watch Digital Foundry to find out the ideal PC settings so I'm not wasting performance. And whenever possible, use, is it DL80, so that you're not using DLSS, because it's more native than. But yeah, the Intel support is officially been added, and XESS 3.0 frame gen also now supported with Intel Intel Arc GPUs. Now, Intel GPUs, not for me. It's for the enthusiast. It's for efficiency. It's for media folk. It's got its place. It's got a very small part of the market. We probably wouldn't get one here, but I do have a lot of time for them, and competition is never a bad thing. So I hope they keep doing well, as long as AMD coming back into the top end of the GPU market. But apparently with this add-in now for Intel support, while it's officially supported and works, the performance is not as good. So that's a bit amateurish. I'm sorry, guys. Like, you put in the support for it, but you don't thoroughly test it out, like you did with your AMD and NVIDIA users. And it's supposed to be a bit janky, and performance is not great. So we'll need to see if they fix that or not. But being fair to them, they've brought out a few decent patches already, so why not?
Very quickly, actually. And they've been listening to the players, and they put in.
That's a good sign.
Away.
Very good sign. Yeah,
I'm actually glad I started. I'm actually glad I started playing it now, because a lot of the fixes that went in were good fixes, and now I can play with them already there.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Well, that's why I'm hanging off for a little bit, because I want to see. I think it will be getting another patch soon and be even better. So I've tried to look at some of the other updates they put in. So yeah, like XeSS frame gen, also AMD Radeon GPUs, anti-lag 2. That's a thing. So that's like
Anti-lag?
anti-lag. That's like the lag boost thing on NVIDIA. I
Yeah,
can't remember what
that's
it's
the
called.
NVIDIA equivalent of
Yeah.
reflex, I think.
That's it. Thank you, mate. You
Yeah.
need that on to try and compensate for some of the latency of like frame
Yeah.
gen and stuff. You have to have it on. So yeah, that's good to see that they've done that. I'm like you, Gray. I'll get around to playing it. I'm not in a rush to play it, but when I get around to playing it, I just hope, like the dynamic frame gen thing, I always like a counter at the top to give me the geeky stats. I just hope that's accessible in the game, or I can find a way to add it in via some like software,
Yeah,
because
that I
I
haven't
want to
seen
know
in
what
game
it's
yet.
using and
Multi-frame
when.
gen is in there, so
Good.
dynamic.
Yeah, I
I don't know,
use
so.
I use the Steam overlay, and that seems to be fine.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you can adjust the Steam overlay to give you as many facts as you want, or
see
or
their
less.
Steam or NVIDIA's one I use. But yeah, no, it's cool. I like to have it just a black bar at the top, so I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
Just because we're sad geeks and that's the thing we like. So
I,
yeah, like
I
the
was
time I get round to playing Crimson Desert, it should be a lot better than it once
I was
was.
playing around with the Steam overlay to see all this, like you said, right? And I'm going like, I think I'm going to put it all the way down to the smallest so it doesn't interfere. Oh my god, it was so small you couldn't read it.
Yeah.
I was like really tiny. I had
Yeah,
to
see
bring it
what
up
you said.
halfway just to be able to. Yeah. Why would you want to make something that small on a 32-inch screen? I could barely see it. I mean,
Eh,
geez.
I'm not answering that because I'll just get a rude mind. The last thing I've
Yeah.
got on my bucket list, not bucket list, agenda, bucket list, I'm
Bucket
not dying,
list.
people, I
Oh,
promise. Epic, Epic game. This one will crack you up. This one is this one's a doozy. Epic Games, yeah, those guys will reportedly launch an extraction shooter along the lines of Ark Raiders. Wait for it, with Disney characters in November 2026. I mean,
yeah, I
what
heard
the
this.
actual fuck? And I don't swear often, man. What is this? Is this Mickey turned into a bad guy with an AK-47 trying to get all the
I
loot out of Disneyland? What?
I don't understand what they're gonna do. I just don't get it. I mean, there are some Disney characters, maybe some of the villains you could say, all right, that could pass, maybe, but there's not that many. So I don't get it. What are you gonna do? I mean, have Minnie run around with a blade, like.
I'm hoping and assuming that it's going to be more Fortnite-esque, but with Disney
Yeah,
characters,
yeah.
and that way it won't be as bad. Because, like, if you ever remember watching South Park, where they had Disney stuff involved in that, and it was the House of Mouse, and it turns out Mickey Mouse was actually a drug dealer and a gangster, and he smoked, he's smoking and drinking and killing people, and I love that Disney Mickey Mouse personally, but I got a funny feeling we're going to see a much nicer version. It's just bizarre, their choice of this, because Fortnite is doing well, but they must be thinking we've had to like lay off 1,000
Well,
people recently,
yeah,
and
and I'm
now we're
wondering.
going to bring out another game to try and get more live service money in. Like,
What I don't understand is it comes at a weird time because Fortnite is actually losing players lately, and
yeah.
they fired people. So I'm like, ooh, you're gonna come out with another one? And Disney?
Well,
I
Fortnite isn't an extraction shooter; it's a battle
true.
royale. So they're seeing the success of the extraction shooter. Ark Raiders is it looks good. It's not. I'm not really a fan of the extraction shooter. You've
Nah,
got
me either.
Marathon out. You've got Escape from Tarkov. I don't.
Mm.
Not my cup of tea. Danny, Hans,
They're gonna turn
you
into
don't play those
a.
games, do you?
No, I don't play extraction shooters. Not my thing.
Yeah.
Same for roguelikes and all kind of stuff. Not for me.
They're gonna turn it into a survival game. So you see Mickey looking real skinny because he hasn't eaten anything.
Well, he'll be trying to get all the loot out of the actual level, and he'll be like, ha, 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 die, motherfuckers! As he sprays you with an AK, man.
I haven't eaten in days.
and then he gets backstabbed by Pluto, the dog behind him, with like an even bigger gun or something, you know. So
I may be going out on a limb, but I predict that thing's going to go nowhere. I mean,
I
I'm
don't know. It's
sorry.
Disney, man. It's Disney. And
I think
remember
Disney's
what I
lost their
discussed last
mind,
week
to be
about.
honest with you.
Remember I discussed last week about Disney. They already have a part ownership in Epic, and they might one day buy them out. And I said to you last week, it's a no-brainer. Buy
the
them out.
analogy, this is going to be the Mando and Grogu movie of video games. There you go, I say.
Yeah, probably.
Wait a minute now. The movie hasn't come out yet, and just there's a couple
Hey,
articles that say like, "Well,
do
you
not
want to
take the piss. Do not take the piss out of Mandalorian. It is actually very good and enjoyable.
True, but the
It
movie
is.
will tank. So,
It's got Grogu in it. I don't know if it will, man.
no, it's going to tank.
And remember, tune in to Extreme Hollywood podcast where we'll discuss more of it.
Yeah.
For our reviews on it. Yes. So yeah, I found that amusing. That I have no clue when they'll announce it, if it's real, if it's not real, if it'll be on a gaming event or something over the next few months. But apparently, come the end of November. I mean, that's a really bad time to launch a game because you've got GTA 6 coming out about that time. You'll have COD coming out about that time. This is why they're talking about the Fable game being delayed. That's just another thing about Fable possibly getting. Did you have that in your agenda, Greg? Because I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, but I remember reading the article.
Yeah,
and they're going like, well, because of GTA 6, we may have to push it to 2027. I'm going like.
See, right, that is annoying, but it makes sense. Like, see, if you've spent so much money and time, you have to think about what's best for your game. You don't want it to tank and get no money back. So while it sucks for it to be delayed, nothing will be able to compete with GTA 6. Not even COD, the mighty COD. I mean, it'll compete, but they might have to bring that launch date forward so that it doesn't get in the way. Nothing wants to come out about the same time. Because they literally will smash the holiday market. You want to come out probably a month or two before it, or wait until next year.
Now, is GTA 6 a game you're definitely going to play? Is that like on the top of the list?
Well, I haven't finished GTA 5, but I'm going to, because I'm not. It's like Metro. It's like Metro. I like the game. I haven't played them all. I'm not. It's enjoyable enough. What I'll probably do is I'll probably put that in the old Christmas bucket list, that and Wolverine, which is coming out in September, and I'll just say, guys, get me those two games, and then once I've complete them both, I'll just sell them on, or I might keep GTA. I don't know, so I could maybe then play it again in the future with you guys on PC. So I can't. I'm just caught up in the hype, and it'll make me play GTA 5 beforehand, because I have the enhanced edition for PC and for PlayStation. So
was that the enhanced edition? What was it?
Enhanced, because it's been out the Hands edition. Yeah, it's been out so long. It's been out so long that it's been across multiple platforms and been polished so many times that while it's tempting to play it,
GTA 5.
No, one of the few things it's not. But it might though. There's rumours of it. But what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it, but I might actually play it on PlayStation the GTA 5 rather than PC. But for the kind of sitting back in my couch enjoyment factor, I haven't made up my mind yet. But yeah, anyway,
Hans, are you gonna get GTA 6 and play the heck out of it, or what?
No,
he won't back on, so
I will play it when it comes out on PC, but I'm not the biggest GTA fan, so it doesn't really matter for me.
Well, then you don't want to spend $100 for the game. So.
Oh, absolutely not.
It won't be $100. People are saying online.
I know, it's going to be 120. It's going to be.
That'll be the special editions. It will be that price.
I'm telling you, the $70 edition is going to be stripped down on purpose.
Well,
so that everybody goes for the.
I think one of the special editions that they'll sell will be the Doink edition, which literally comes with a real life joint that you can smoke on completion of the game.
Oh yeah, okay. There you go.
Or
comes a little baggy inside it and everything.
Or another edition could be like a bong or something there, that like a GTA bong or something. So
actually, I like that better. The GTA 6 bong edition.
The bong edition, yeah. Or the pimp edition, and I won't say what that may involve, but you can use your imagination. But yeah, that's my gaming news for this time, Mr. Gray.
Very good, very good. We're gonna move on to some more hardware tech news. My first little article coming up is, I love this one. This is Windows 11, right? The Windows system that we all love. Anyway, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to realize that Windows 11 is full of AI now. I mean, you can't get around Copilot; it's just always there. And a lot of us have been, eliminating it here and there when we can, because we know maybe a little more, know how to do it. But this article came out. I won't go through the whole thing, but I will tell you there are things you can do to get rid of Copilot. Now, I got rid of Copilot, and then all of a sudden I realized Copilot came back, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know I got rid of it. It's Microsoft 365 Copilot. So apparently, yeah, they're like they put the word Copilot, and then they put another word before Copilot because it's a version that's supposed to work just with this or just with that. I'm like, oh God. So if you really want to get rid of it, there are some AI tools out there that you can get. Like WinArrow Tweaker does have a feature where you can click off Copilot. Not the Microsoft 365 Copilots. I guess in future editions maybe that'll happen. But you can go into the settings and do the best job you can on getting rid of it. There's actually, believe it or not, I didn't know this, laptops come now with a Copilot key on the keyboard.
Yeah, well, great. See, now you mentioned that, that keyboard that I got that has the Steam Deck attached to the end of it, the Galleon or whatever it's called. I looked at that, and the right-hand side of the main part of the keyboard, before you get like to the Steam Deck bit, it's got a Copilot key on it. And I think that's how can Microsoft make you do that? A keyboard?
I don't. No, I'm thinking of what I haven't read an article on is they had to have made some deals with keyboard makers because they don't own keyboard makers. So they had to have done some kind of a deal, like put our key there and we'll give you this much money, or something. Or put a key there, but it doesn't do anything as long as it says Copilot.
It's silly, isn't it, man? It really is silly. I don't.
Well, they did say if you do have a keyboard like that, you can go into settings, personalization, text input, and you can configure the Copilot key to something else, kind of like remapping in a way. So you don't have to use it for the purposes of what it is, I guess. Removing Copilot from the system tray. And here's what I was talking about. They have Copilot and Microsoft 365 Copilot. And he was saying, are you confused now? It says many people are, but Microsoft has, they call it business reasons of why they separate the Copilot into so many fractionated stuff. Nobody understands why they do it. It's kind of stupid in my opinion, and many others too. But if you don't want it in the system icon tray, you can go to Task Manager and manage your startup apps and tell it to get rid of starting it up. So at least that way it doesn't appear in your taskbar or whatever. In some cases you can uninstall, but in other cases you can't, although they said that the normal Copilot Windows had to actually change and make it so that you could uninstall it easily, because before this you couldn't, or you couldn't uninstall it easily, and people really complained, so they made it very easy now to uninstall. So if you don't want it,
does it bother you guys? Does it bother you guys? Sorry to interrupt. That the Copilot.
I hate Copilot.
It's not pushy for me. I don't mind it.
I disabled it. Now it's back for some reason.
That's the 365 probably.
But I gotta be honest, it doesn't really bother me because I don't interact with it at all.
I don't either, but the thing is, I don't want it shoved in my face all the time.
No, it shouldn't be in there. There should be an option for people like, I just don't want this, right?
And I'm not even grading on its AI capabilities. For all I know, they could be great, but the thing is, come on. It's almost like Clippy. Remember Clippy for Microsoft Office?
Clippy was
That's
cool.
Almost as bad as Clippy now. It's kind of like, go away already.
I will die on the Clippy hill, okay? Clippy was cool.
So for people that would rather keep Copilot, but they can't stand the Copilot popping up or whatever, there's apparently a registry hack that you can go into, and they explain here if you pay really careful, you can go in there and mess with the registry and get that to not happen for you anymore. There's a lot of other stuff here. I didn't even know there was this many. They said that Windows Recall is disabled. They're talking about turn off the click to do shortcuts. So apparently you right click and there pops up Copilot again. So if you're right clicking a file, they go Copilot, and you're just like, why? I don't need to know the Copilot can work with a right click file. Apparently you can turn that all off, but if you go to settings, privacy and security, and click to do, you can take that out of there. So why we have to go through these hoops, I don't know, but at least there's one article that you can go to do all this stuff. If you want to know everything about it, you can take a look. It's PC World has the article. So just Google Windows 11 is packed with AI now, etc., and you should come up with the article, and that will get you through it so that you can uninstall everything you want to uninstall. Next thing I wanted to talk about was what we kind of touched on for a second. We were talking about the RAM and SSD prices. And according to what I'm reading here, they're saying RAM and SSDs sell for thousands, not hundreds, thousands of dollars at Micro Center, even as the inventory remains full. So they're not giving any breaks on an inventory full. Like, okay. So apparently, Microsoft Center are packed with SSDs and RAM. They noticed that a 2 terabyte SSD was selling for $700. 128 gigabyte memory kit was selling for $4,199. I'm like, woo! I know
Wow.
it's 128 gigs, I get it, but still, that costs more than we paid for our 5090s. So,
Wow.
I mean, that's like crazy. But the other thing I don't understand is if they've got stock and they have pictures here, they're loaded with it, and yet they're not giving any kind of deals. They're just going for the highest price they can, or they can get away with. So I'm like, okay.
That's
They
nuts.
said it appears that SSD prices haven't gone up by 200%. Both Western Digital and Samsung have reported silently increasing the prices for their NVMe SSDs. I hate when they hear it silently. Why is that so much more now? The Samsung 9100 Pro SSD, which is a high-end SSD.
Which one? Say again.
Samsung 9100 Pro SSD.
9100. Okay.
Yeah,
I have
Or
the
you're godlike.
I have the 9080 Pro Evo something Samsung.
I got the old ones that first came out, and they're still doing just fine.
Yeah.
They said that if you start out at 2 terabytes for $679, and if you go all the way up to the top end, it's $2,719. I'm like, geez. I mean, it's amazing. I'm glad. I'm so glad we're not buying piece parts anymore.
This is the kind of. This is also for consoles. This is the kind of thing that is ruining the gaming hobby, right? These prices are insane. I mean, what do you think a PlayStation 6 is going to cost, or the next gen Xbox, with those prices?
They said right now. They said the cost for every gigabyte of DDR5 capacity appears to be around $32 per gigabyte. That's like wow. I love the pictures though. They showed a picture of Corsair Vengeance RGB DDR5. It's got the lights. I get it. 128 gigabyte kit for $4,199, like we just said. And there's a picture of it. Like, who's buying that? I don't get it. So that's that just means, like we've been saying, it's a good thing we bought when we bought it, because I wouldn't want to be trying to build a computer now.
No, we were lucky, I think.
Oh yeah, we got real lucky. In fact, we actually bought, even though it was a little expensive, we just caught it as it was starting to go nuts.
Oh yeah.
Soon after we bought it, went completely bonkers. From there. So we really, we skirted the edge on that one.
We really did.
The next story was actually a good story. ASUS debuts a ROG equalizer 12-volt 2x6 cable to protect GPU connectors from melting.
I was wondering if that is based on the cable with the ROG Astral, because those if you plug in your cable on the ROG Astral 5090, you can monitor it on your other screen. It has a built-in monitor, and it apparently has a safe fail system. When it starts to overheat or whatever, it just stops.
They mentioned something about that, but not with this particular one. They mentioned another brand that has something like that. They said since NVIDIA keeps neglecting fixing its 16-pin power connection, put a nice dig on NVIDIA. apparently, everybody's coming up with innovative technologies. So this one, they enlarged the cable load. So originally it took 9.2 amps. Now it takes 17, up to 17 amps.
Oofed.
They says here that the ROG equalizer and its cable that balances the load across all the pins on the GPU connector to mitigate the risk of any kind of connector melting. It's kind of cool looking, actually. You see a little bit different wiring. The ends of it are all purple, so you know that it's 17 amp, I guess. The ROG equalizer appears to be a premium cable. Of course they are. So it'll probably cost you, well, they don't have a cost price on here now. Isn't that nice? Dual color PCIe cable connector. Let's see what else do they have. A higher tolerance, higher load tolerance, but it also distributes the load across, like we said. So no pricing for it, but knowing that it's a ROG, it's probably going to be a little expensive.
It was ridiculous that ever happened in the first place, Greg.
There you go.
Of course.
In
Took the words out of my
2026.
mouth.
It's ridiculous. It's just cheapness.
These cables shouldn't exist to begin with. I'm sorry. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they should come out of the box,
right?
So.
Because NVIDIA went on to do all their AI crap, they just kind of like, somebody will come up with a cable.
Guys, don't be surprised if future GPUs come without the cable full stop. Like mobile phones don't even come with the charging brick now.
Oh, yeah.
So don't be surprised if they do the same, because they save money and getting sued possibly, therefore saving money. So,
well, it's going to go the route of the PCs with no RAM. You got to buy your own RAM. It's going to be the same kind of concept. Here's a power supply, but we're not going to give you any cables. You just, go out there and buy whatever you want.
So sick of all that crap.
I know. It's because they have to think of ways that they can still sell the product and keep the price down. So what do? They start eliminating stuff.
Yeah.
And people just sit there and go like, well, it's a good price. But when you look into it, it's like, no, you're getting ripped off. It's almost like what it really is. I don't know if you have the expression over there in the UK, but over here it's called shrinkflation. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Wow. I mean, I've seen it happen just in other things. Like I'll give you for instance, just to show you. I have a can of chicken, right? It's a chicken breast in a can, 6 ounces, right? But what I did is I noticed how much water was in it. I'm going like, yeah, okay, I understand you have to keep it wet, but do you need that much water? So I sat there and weighed it out. There's 2 ounces of water. So it's a 6-ounce can, but they load 2 ounces of water in it. So you're only getting 4 ounces of chicken. This is the shrinkflation across the board.
Great. That's funny, because I watched something recently about a British farmer that says we don't do this, but once we sell it to the big superstores and whatnot, they take our good quality meat and they inject a bunch of water into it, and they put potato starch or some kind of starch in there to hold the water so that it holds the weight. So when you put it in your pan, you're like, where did all that water come from? It wasn't frozen. Let's get on. Like people trying to rip you off and con you, man. Always the same.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And even with the things like ice cream, you go and buy ice cream. When's the last time you bought an actual pint of ice cream? It's now a little less than that now. Half gallons are no longer a half gallon. They're a little under by X amount. I'm like, it just keeps going. So when they don't raise prices, they're just going to keep on shrinking your carton of ice cream until it comes down to the size of your thumb, and go like, well, we're charging the same price. Like, okay.
Sad.
Anyway, did you want Hans? Did you want to talk more about Crimson Desert?
Well, I already asked the question because it was a bit of
okay. I'm going to answer your question, or what I think. I definitely think games can be too big, and perfect examples like AC Valhalla.
Yeah.
But the game was still good, so I guess it depends. If you really like the game that much, you could play it to a certain point and then just kind of leave it by and come back to it later.
But the difference is with AC Valhalla was more of bloat. This is kept adding stuff, right? So the base game was actually fine, I thought.
Right.
It was big, but it was fine. But with Crimson Desert, the problem is that I really like the game by all metrics. I should be playing the crap out of it. And for some reason, when I log in, it's like, where do I go? What do I do besides the main story? Why do I want to go there again? And it's like, there's stuff in the sky. There's everywhere. So I'm like, yeah.
But I think the same thing comes into play, because even if the whole game is great, if it's too big or too much to do, then you get almost the opposite. You get to the point where you're getting so used to you just don't want to keep going. You want to play some other game that's short,
Yeah, the
like
thing is,
Resident
I'm
Evil, like
playing
23
3
hours.
games at one time, and like Trev said earlier, this is a game you just need to play. You need to focus on one game if you want to play this game.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you know what? You just brought up a good point because I've often thought of this. I think a lot of things are happening now in the gaming world where everything seems, not, I'm not going to say everything, but a lot of things seem to be floating to the 1 or 2 game thing. I mean, you see a lot of people playing like their favorite game and maybe another one, or maybe another 2 tops, and they're spending all their time on those 2 or 3 games. That's it. And I'm seeing much more of that going on lately. And I think part of that is because of the cost, obviously. And I think part of it is because there's so many games out there. I mean, just look at Steam.
Ridiculous.
I saw something, I think I posted in our Discord that Steam carries a library of 100,000 games.
That's
100,000.
mental. That's mental.
And
Scary.
they're like 25 times what like Epic does. I mean, and other and Ubisoft. 25, 30, 35 times as many games. Easy. And so right there, it just shows you. I mean, I'm not knocking Steam. I'm just saying that, I find I thought I was the last person that would ever happen to, right? But it's even happening to me because I have games that I got at a good price or whatever, and I'm glad I got them, not denying it.
Mhm.
But I haven't got to play past a few hours on some of them because there's just something else that I want to go to, and I'm like, geez, man, this is like crazy. And if I spend all the time on one game, it's almost like what's that expression? FOMO, your fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So you're right. So you're playing a game and you're going, like, this is fun. Then another game comes up. Oh crap! I really wanted to play that game. Boop. I guess it
Sounds
depends
about
on the
right.
game too. But like when Expanse comes out, the game, I don't care what's going on. I'm on that one. I'm already a founder of the game, and then the beta starts the
Yeah,
22nd.
stop showing off, and it's not out for a year after the bloody beta. That's ridiculous.
I can't wait. It's gonna be great. There's so many people waiting on this, and I'm like, yeah, man.
I bet you it's shit.
You know what? Anything is possible, but from what I've seen, I mean, it looks real good. I'm sitting there going like, wow, man, please be at least as good as what I was looking at.
Do you have to sign an NDA?
I was wondering about that. No, they haven't said anything about that yet.
Well, you can talk about it then.
Yeah, so if they don't, I'm damn straight I'm going to talk about it. The what I'm hearing, although I don't know if this is all true, is that they're going to give us one level or one mission or something like that that's completely fleshed out for the most part. So that way you get to actually experience pretty much the way it's going to be, more or less. Instead of just giving you something that has like only a couple of things working and that's it. So I hope that's true, because if that's right, then I'll be playing, in a sense, the full game experience, but just only one mission, or whatever. So I hope so. That would be nice, because then I can give a much better, review of what I've seen. In any case,
Cool.
if there's nothing else from you guys that you want to talk about, we can move into the trivia if you want. Anything else you guys want to mention?
I like the theme of the quiz, so
I try to make something different every time, just to be a little different. But this is going to be an NVIDIA theme. But what we're doing this time, instead of multiple choice like I've been doing, this is going to be straight up true or false.
Oh.
So you got a 50-50 chance
Which
of
is
being right or
technically
wrong.
multiple choice. There's more than one.
No, there's more than
Yes
one,
or
but you
no?
have to say right. But you have to say right, exactly. Yeah, true or false. So let's see what y'all know on this one, right? So number one, NVIDIA originally started as a graphics company focused on gaming.
True.
True.
True or false?
True.
True, which is ironic.
Yeah.
You're both saying true?
Yeah.
Okay, false. They started broadly in the graphics compute area. Gaming became their breakout lane.
No, whatever.
God
Okay,
damn it.
Number two, DLSS uses AI to upscale lower resolution images into higher resolution ones.
True.
True or false?
True.
True.
True, you're both right. Ding, ding. Very good. You're 1 for 1. Number three, NVIDIA manufactures all of its own GPUs in its own factories. True or false?
False.
False. They design them, they don't manufacture them. They never
Very
have.
good, boys. You both are right. They design chips, but companies like TSMC manufacture them.
Samsung and Intel are the only 3 companies in the world that make their own silicon.
Yeah.
Right. I knew you guys would get that one because we're into that kind of crap. Number four, Ray tracing was first introduced to gaming by NVIDIA's RTX 20 series GPUs. True or false?
True.
True.
Because I had the 2080, I bought it for ray
True.
tracing.
Yeah. And it was shit. It was awful. It was.
Yeah,
it
it was
never
awful.
really. It
Same
never
for DLSS,
started.
by the way.
It never started getting half decent until the 30 series cards came
Yeah,
out.
and even then, you needed a 3090.
Even then,
yeah.
truly, it was the 4000 series before it actually got good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you are right. They did introduce it in the 20 series. Real-time ray tracing in mainstream gaming, at least, but you are correct either way.
Here's a sub question for you, and I don't think you have this down here. When was path tracing introduced? Which series of cards?
With the which cards? It was the
40 series cards.
it was the 50s.
No,
I think.
No.
Franz is right. It was the 30s or 40s. Did it not start it in the 30s?
Path tracing?
I don't think path racing was
Oh.
in Cyberpunk in the 30s. I'm not 100% sure.
No, I think it was 4000 series
Yeah,
that
me
it
too,
came in. Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of Doom: The Dark Ages where they baked it in. So
I'm talking about ray tracing, but path tracing is like the ultimate. Like it takes up the most resource. It is pure ray tracing at its best form. Whereas ray tracing is you can literally make up elements of it, so only certain things reflect light, and every bit of light off every bit of surface is path tracing. From my understanding, and I'm not fussed about it. But if I've got the overhead, I'll use it. What are you saying, Hans?
So we're correct then. So
yes,
yeah.
All
right. Last question. Higher DLSS settings always result in better image quality than native resolution.
Absolutely
false.
False.
Capital false. Capital false.
You guys are jumping on that one.
number 30 size in Word. Italics, bold. What else? Flashing.
Well, you are right. So that's not bad. You guys got 4 out of 5. Not bad at all.
Yay.
No,
and the first question was a bit of a trick question, but still.
You get DLSS doesn't make it better at all. In fact, if anything,
there's a few exceptions where it actually is better than native.
There are, but as a rule of thumb, and it might get to that stage where it ends up becoming better in the future with better AI. But certainly at the moment, for the most part, it isn't better because all it does is run at a lower resolution, so that you can, and then upscales it, and then this is where all this sub technology is coming in, as I call it, to try clean up all the jaggies and the mess and the latency, and that stuff's getting better. That's what we want. So, yeah. Anyway,
you know what's so ironic? What's so ironic about GPUs over time is that a lot of the jankiness and other problems that they encounter is because they became that way when they were built. So instead of going back to the hardware side to figure out how to stop that, they just said, well, it's going to be too expensive, so let's just keep coming up with software to defeat it.
You know, I just got this message of battery low, and I was like, okay, I'm done. And then it was great. It just
what happened?
So. That is hilarious, guys.
But
so
anyway,
what's happened is Gray's literally dropped off.
Fucking killing you.
And had technical issues again. So we were literally about to wrap up there anyway, Hans. So
yeah, we're done.
We will wrap up. We'll let Gray come back to an empty audience, which will be hilarious. But until next week, say goodbye to people, Hans.
Bye. Gray's in the files.
See you later, guys. Bye.